Most people are walking corpses, programmed to lose by a system that profits from their weakness. You've been fed a steady diet of honesty and hard work, while the people at the top use your back as a ladder. They want you soft, predictable, and polite. But the world doesn't belong to the polite. It belongs to the calculated. Machiavelli didn't write for the choir. He wrote for the men who wanted to own the cathedral. If you're tired of being the one who gets passed over, the one who gets cheated, or the one who finishes last because you did the right thing, then it's time to burn your old self to the ground. We aren't here to talk about self-improvement in some fuzzy, feel-good way. We're here to talk about reconstruction through ruthlessness. Strip away the ego and prepare to rebuild your mind, body, and heart into a fortress that nothing and no one can breach. Welcome to the cold reality. The first thing is you have to kill the good guy delusion. Stop lying to yourself. You've been programmed since birth to believe that if you're nice, the world will reward you. You think that by being the good guy, the one who helps everyone, the one who never makes a scene, the one who plays fair, you're building some kind of moral credit that the universe will eventually pay back. That is a lie designed by the people at the top to keep you in your place. They want you to be a good guy because good guys are easy to manage, easy to predict, and even easier to replace. A man who wishes to make a profession of goodness in everything must necessarily come to grief among so many who are not good. Look around you. The world isn't a playground. It's a battlefield. While you're busy being polite and fair, your competition is sharpening their blades. They are studying your weaknesses while you're worrying about their feelings. You aren't being moral. You're being a coward. You're using niceness as a shield because you're afraid of the friction that comes with power. To rebuild your mind, you have to kill this version of yourself today. No more being the reliable one who picks up everyone else's slack for zero credit. No more saying yes when you want to say no, just because you don't want someone to think you're mean. Being nice is a luxury for those who have already won. Until you have the crown, nice is just another word for doormat. Think about the guy at the office who does everyone's work and gets a pat on the back while someone else gets the promotion. Think about the person in the relationship who gives everything and gets walked on. That's the good guy tax. You're paying it every single day. Machiavelli taught that a leader must learn how not to be good and to use that knowledge, or not use it, according to necessity. This doesn't mean you go out and become a mindless villain. It means you stop being a victim of your own conscience. You need to develop a dark side and keep it on a leash. You need to be the person who could ruin someone, but chooses not to because it's not strategic, not because you're too nice to do it. There is a massive difference between a man who can't bite and a man who has teeth but chooses when to use them. The first is a rabbit. The second is a predator. When you kill the good guy delusion, you start seeing people for who they really are, not who they pretend to be. You stop expecting fairness and start expecting interest. People don't do things because it's the right thing to do. They do things because it serves them. Once you accept this, you're finally free. You can stop being disappointed by people's selfishness and start using it to your advantage. The new rule is simple. Results over reputation. If being good gets you the result, fine. If being ruthless gets you the result, do it. The only morality that matters in the game of power is whether you won or lost. History is written by the winners, and they always write themselves as the good guys anyway. Kill the delusion before it kills your future. The second thing is, you must treat your body like a fortress. In the real world, your physical presence is the first thing people use to decide if they can walk all over you. Machiavelli was clear about one thing. You are either the hammer or the anvil. If your body is soft, your mind is soft, and your enemies will see it from a mile away. You cannot lead an empire if you cannot even lead your own hands to the gym or away from a plate of junk food. A weak body is an open invitation for an invasion. When Machiavelli said, The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. He was talking about more than just your friends. He was talking about your self-discipline. If I look at you and see someone who is out of shape, lazy, and lethargic, I already know I've won. Why? Because if you can't win the war against your own cravings, you'll never win a war against me. Rebuilding your body isn't about looking good for a beach photo. It's about building a physical shell that radiates authority and demands respect before you even open your mouth. Stop viewing exercise as a hobby. It is military preparation for the life you want to steal. Every rep you skip, every mile you don't run, is a crack in your armor. When you are physically strong, you carry yourself differently. You take up more space in the room. You look people in the eye longer. You become a lion that the wolves are afraid to test. Machiavelli taught that war should be the only study of a prince. In 2026, your war is against the comfort that is trying to kill your ambition. Think about the guy who walks into a meeting looking sharp, fit, and alert versus the guy who rolls in late, sweating, and out of breath. Who gets the deal? Who gets the respect? Who gets the benefit of the doubt? It's not the nice guy. It's the guy who looks like he could handle a crisis without breaking. Your body is your most basic tool of intimidation. If you don't use it, you're leaving money and power on the table. You need to build a body that can endure the grind. Power is a marathon, not a sprint. If you're tired by 2 p.m., you're useless. If your back hurts from sitting too much, you're vulnerable. Rebuild your body into a machine that doesn't quit. This means eating for fuel, not for feelings. It means sleeping because your brain needs to sharpen its blade, not because you're lazy. Machiavelli knew that it is much safer to be feared than loved. On a street level, fear starts with your silhouette. When you walk down the block, do people move out of your way, or do they expect you to move for them? If you're the one moving, your fortress has already fallen. Your physical strength is the foundation of your mental dominance. You cannot have one without the other. The rule is simple. Build the weapon. Every day you spend being weak is a day you spend being a target. Turn your body into a fortress so strong that the mere sight of it makes your rivals look for an easier target. When you own your physical self, you start to believe you can own everything else. Don't just work out. Build a monument to your own discipline. The third thing is you have to master the art of the strategic heart. Most people are walking around with their hearts on their sleeves, giving away their loyalty and their love to anyone who smiles at them. That's not being kind. That's being a target. In the game of power, your emotions are your biggest leak. If I know what you love, I know how to control you. If I know who you care about, I know where to strike to make you fold. Machiavelli's most famous lesson was simple. It is much safer to be feared than loved. Why? Because love is a bond of obligation which men break whenever it serves their advantage. But fear is strengthened by a dread of punishment which never leaves you. Rebuild your heart by turning it into a vault. Stop being the loyal friend to people who wouldn't even help you move a couch. Stop being the partner who gives 100% while the other person gives 20%. Love is a debt, and in 2026 you can't afford to be in debt to anyone who doesn't pay interest. You need to look at every relationship in your life, friends, family, partners, and ask one cold, hard question. What is the ROI on this person? If they aren't helping you build your empire, if they aren't sharpening your mind, or if they're just draining your energy with their drama, they are a liability. And in the world of Machiavelli, you cut liabilities before they sink your ship. Think about the person you know who is too loyal. They stay in bad jobs because they like the team. They stay in bad relationships because of history. They are miserable, broke, and stuck. That is the cost of a non-strategic heart. Machiavelli taught that men change their masters willingly, hoping to better themselves. You should have that same mindset. Your loyalty should only last as long as it is beneficial to your growth. This sounds cold because it is. The world doesn't reward the person who stayed on the sinking ship out of love. It rewards the person who saw the leak, grabbed the only lifeboat, and rowed toward the shore. You need to become the person who cares the least in every room. The person who cares the least holds all the power. When you don't need someone's approval, they can't use it against you. When you aren't afraid to walk away from a deal or a relationship, you're the one who sets the terms. Rebuild your heart so that it only beats for your own goals. If someone wants a place in your life, they have to earn it with more than just words. They have to provide value. If they don't, treat them like a stranger. Don't let empathy become a cage. People will use your feelings to manipulate you. They will cry. They will play the victim. They will try to make you feel guilty for succeeding. Machiavelli knew that a prince should have no other object or thought than war. Your war is your success. Anyone trying to distract you from that with their emotional baggage is an enemy, even if they're smiling. The new rule is strategic loyalty only. Give your heart to your mission, not to people. Use love as a tool to get what you need, but never let it become a chain that holds you back. When you control your heart, you control your destiny. If they can't break your heart, they can't break you. The fourth thing is you have to understand that appearances are your only reality. Most people are obsessed with being themselves or being authentic. That is a trap for losers. In the real world, nobody knows who you actually are, and frankly, nobody cares. They only know what you show them. Machiavelli understood this better than anyone. Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. If you look like a failure, people will treat you like one. If you look like a king, they will bow before they even know your name. Rebuild your life by becoming a master of the mask. Stop showing your struggle. When you're broke, tired, or losing, keep it to yourself. If you show weakness, you invite predators. If you show doubt, you lose your authority. You need to curate every single thing the world sees. Your clothes, your walk, the way you sit, and the way you look at people. You aren't faking it. You are strategically designing the version of yourself that gets results. In 2026, your image is your currency. If your brand is weak, your bank account will follow. Think about the person who dresses better than their boss. People naturally assume they are more competent, more disciplined, and more powerful. They get the benefit of the doubt, while the authentic guy in the wrinkled shirt gets ignored. Machiavelli taught that the vulgar are always taken by what a thing seems to be, and by the issue of an event. Most people are the vulgar. They don't look deep, they look at the surface. If you win the surface, you win the game. You need to speak less than everyone else. When you talk too much, you look desperate for validation. When you stay silent and only speak when it matters, people lean in. Silence is a power move. It makes people nervous. They start filling the gaps with their own insecurities, and that gives you the upper hand. Machiavelli knew that it is not necessary for a prince to have all the good qualities, but it is very necessary to appear to have them. You don't actually have to be the smartest person in the room. You just have to look like the one who knows something everyone else doesn't. Never let them see you sweat. If you're under pressure, smile. If you're angry, stay calm. The moment you lose control of your face, you lose control of the situation. Your reputation is a shield. Once it's cracked, every arrow finds its mark. Rebuild your image so that it's bulletproof. People should describe you as composed, calculated, and unstoppable, even if you're panicking on the inside. The rule is simple. Image is power. If you have to choose between being respected and being real, choose respect every single time. People will forget your truth, but they will never forget how you made them feel when you walked into the room. Build a mask so perfect that the world has no choice but to give you what you want. When you own the appearance, you own the reality. The fifth thing is the most important. You have to adapt or you will die. The world doesn't care about your authentic self or your personal truth. It only cares about results. If you stay the same while the world changes, You aren't being loyal to yourself. You're being a relic. You're becoming a target. Machiavelli was the master of the pivot, and he taught the most vital lesson of all. A prince must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. If you are only a lion, you will fall into a hole you didn't see coming. If you are only a fox, the first wolf that finds you will tear your throat out. You have to be both. And you have to know exactly when to switch the mask. Rebuild your mind by becoming a shape-shifter. Most people get stuck in one gear. They have one personality, one way of working, and one way of talking to people. They think that's integrity. In reality, it's just rigidity. And rigidity is what makes a building crumble during an earthquake. To win in 2026, you need to be fluid like water. If the situation requires you to be the humble student who listens and takes notes, play the part perfectly. If the situation changes and requires you to be the cold-blooded tyrant who fires everyone in the room, do it without blinking. The person who can change their colors to fit the environment is the person who eventually owns the environment. Think about the guy who refuses to learn new technology because he likes the old way. Where is he now? He's unemployed. Think about the leader who refuses to change his tone when the market shifts. He's bankrupt. Machiavelli observed that luck and opportunity don't favor the stagnant. They favor the aggressive and the flexible. You have to chase the change before the change chases you. If you see a shift coming in your industry, your social circle, your city, don't complain about it. Exploit it. You need to stop being emotionally attached to your methods. If a strategy worked yesterday but failed today, bury it. Don't try to fix it. Don't get sentimental about it. Move on to the next weapon. Machiavelli knew that it is better to be adventurous than cautious. Caution is for people who have something to lose. Adventure is for people who are coming to take everything. Rebuild your life so that you are never too comfortable. Comfort is the graveyard of kings. The moment you think you've arrived and can stop adapting is the moment someone younger, hungrier, and more flexible starts measuring your office for their new desk. Never let them pin you down. If people think they have you figured out, they can predict your next move. If they can predict you, they can defeat you. Keep your true intentions hidden and your methods constantly evolving. One day, you're the best friend. The next day, you're the silent stranger. One day, you're the hardest worker. The next day, you're the visionary delegator. Machiavelli taught that the successful man is the one who matches his mode of proceeding with the spirit of the times. The rule is simple. Be water, not stone. Stone stays in one place until it's ground into dust. Water flows around obstacles, finds the cracks, and eventually floods the entire valley. Stop trying to make the world fit your rules and start mastering the rules of the world. When you stop resisting change and start using it as a ladder, you become untouchable. Adapt, pivot, and conquer, or stay the same and get buried. The final thing you need to understand is that power isn't a gift. It's a loan with high interest. You've spent your time building the mind of a fox, the body of a fortress, and a mask that would fool a saint. But if you don't know why you're holding the blade, you will eventually cut yourself. Machiavelli didn't teach men to be ruthless just for the sake of being mean. He taught them to be effective so they could build something that outlasts their own heartbeat. Where the willingness is great, the difficulties cannot be great. If you use these rules just to bully people in line at the coffee shop or to feel big on the internet, you're not a prince. You're just a jerk with an ego problem. True Machiavellianism is about the long game. It is about recognizing that the world is a chaotic, dangerous place, and the only way to protect what is yours is to become the most formidable force in the room. You become a monster so that you can protect your interests, your family, and your future from the real monsters lurking outside. Once you reach the top, you owe it to your own legacy to be the most stable, most competent version of yourself. Power is a heavy coat. If you aren't strong enough to carry it, it will crush your bones and leave you in the dirt. The world in 2026 doesn't have room for the weak or the indecisive. It only has room for those who are willing to pay the price of greatness. You have the blueprint. You have the mindset. Now you have the responsibility. Don't waste this new version of yourself on small-time beefs or temporary pleasures. Aim for the sun. The throne is empty until someone with the guts to take it and the strength to keep it decides to sit down. You've been a spectator your whole life. It's time to become the architect of your own reality. The debt is high, but the view from the top is worth every cent. If you're ready to stop playing the victim and start writing your own rules, then you know what to do. The world doesn't reward the person who waits. It rewards the person who takes. Smash that like button if you're done being the good guy and ready to become the architect of your own power. Subscribe and hit the notification bell, because in a world of sheep, you need a daily reminder of why you chose to be a lion. We are rebuilding empires here, and you don't want to be the one left behind when the world shifts. Drop a comment below with the word untouchable if you've officially killed your old self today. Let the world know a new player has entered the game. The throne is waiting. Don't let someone else sit in it. See you in the next one.